What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unapologetically Stupid, presented by Squirrely TV. I am your hostess with the mostest, the best of the Midwest, Jeff Rhodes, and with me, as always, I have the sensationable Nicholas Shin.
What's up, guys?
We have a very special guest this evening on the podcast. This is, I would say, probably our most prestigious guest we've had on the pod.
This is our most well-known person.
From Texas, making his way to us through California. He has over 100,000 combined followers on all social media platforms. Give it up for Luke, a.k.a. Real Haifa.
Howdy, what's up?
Oh, wait, here we go. Hold on. There we go. Oh, well, dang it.
Just don't push the button. Stop. I'll clap.
There we go. We have an applause button, but we know.
We got all this technology, but it never wants to work when we need it.
Yeah, sorry, Luke. I don't think you understood what you were coming into.
It's all good. I wish I had the air horn instead of the applause. It's fine.
You know what? We got the air horn too. Thank you. Real high for everybody. Give it up for him. This is first of all, let's just stop and say shout out to our friend Saucy for kind of making this happen for us. He reached out to Luke, I think via Instagram, or is it Twitter?
I think so. I think Instagram, yeah.
Instagram, and I was just like, he was like, "Hey, I got a friend of the podcast," and I was like, "Oh," and he's a real big fan of yours. He's been following you for a couple months now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he loves all your works. Well, let's get into it. Let's just get right off the bat. You are a producer / DJ who has been popping off on TikTok with your country EDM mixes and things like that. How did you get started in DJing in general?
DJing is actually more recent. Music production, though, probably started when I taught myself guitar in 8th grade. Once I started kind of learning the basics of guitar, that's when I could start writing songs. And, songs an 8th grader would write aren't that great. But, hey, it was a beginning, And then as I got older, I joined bands, formed bands, left some, joined, how it goes. So eventually I found out it's hard to keep 5 dudes responsible and towards the same goal. So I was like, you know what, let me try it on my own. And I did a rock project on my own, but eventually I landed up on EDM and started producing. And once tracks started getting more, traction, I was like, I need to start playing these live. And that's when I bought a DJ controller, and I've just been kind of practicing at home and playing live on TikTok. I've done a wedding, but still looking to play shows, festivals, etc. So I'm still new to all that.
Gotcha. I totally get you with the wedding stuff because I do video, and that's what the money you can get some good money in weddings. It's
exactly, yeah, absolutely.
But so you got your start in actual instruments. You said guitar, so that's cool. And you said you joined a couple of bands. So what kind of songs? So did you write country songs? Because what I think you're known for now is mostly country mixes.
I know.
So
how funny is that?
Where did your love? You said your rock song, so I don't know, where'd that kind of country love come from?
And that also came relatively recently. If anyone asked me, or if anyone found out from school that I've been known to do country stuff, they'd be very surprised because probably for the first 20-something years of my life, I didn't like country. I openly talked about not liking country. I was that guy that was like, I listen to all music but country. And not to say there wasn't any country songs I liked. I kind of threw out I like the stereotypical Johnny Cash songs, some Willie Nelson songs, but everybody does, So that wasn't, I didn't count that. It was only until I think Avicii passed away, I started re-listening to his catalog, and I heard Broken Arrows, Hey Brother, Wake Me Up. Mm-hmm. They had an EDM beat, but a country twang that I've hated my whole life, but I've heard it, and it felt right. It felt beautiful. The lyrics hit me deep. And then, I don't know, it just opened up my mind. It created a crack in my mind to be more open to country. And ever since Avicii doing the EDM country, that inspired me to make it my sound. It seemed like he kind of just did it one-off. He did it a few times, but I don't think he made it his soul sound. I was like, I wanted to make it my soul sound. And in doing that, my love of country has grown from looking for old country remixes to modern country to everything. I've definitely opened my mind a lot more to country. I like it a whole lot more. And now I can safely say I'm the guy who likes all type of music.
Okay. I was just like you. I would say mine was country and heavy metal. And my co-host here, he's a country guy. He loves his country music. Brooks and Dunn? That the one?
What are we going for here?
I'm just like, who was like the people you taught
about?
me? The Brooks and Dunn.
Oh, Boot Scoot and Boogie.
That's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Boot Scoot and Boogie. I remember you playing me that song in the barn.
That was my national anthem before I learned the national anthem.
Boot Scoot. Yeah, I would say mine. I love country now too, but I think I got mine. Mine's probably more of a sad way of how I started liking country. It was I got my gateway drug to country music was like Florida Georgia Line. That cruise song that was playing everywhere. I was like, oh, I didn't know country music could have rappers in it. This is pretty dope. And then I kind of from there, I went to the pop country route, and I didn't really do like the old my research. I know Nick had Brooks and Dunn, but I honestly didn't know who Reba. I knew her from the TV show. I didn't know she was a singer until like maybe 5 years ago. He's giving me he's like, you.
I knew she was a singer. I just knew her more from the show than I did.
Yeah. I knew she was a country music singer. I just never heard any of the song. But now the fancy don't let me down.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You're just staring at me. You're like, what the hell?
It's just I've heard it so many times, but it just blows my mind every time I hear it.
No,
we grew up differently.
We did in different.
Like I didn't
eras.
hear anything rap until probably middle school.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Luke, but like you said, you grew up with music, like guitar and stuff. I'm a person who usually doesn't go more towards EDM because I like lyrics and things like that. But that's what I like about like your mixes, and like there's some DJs out there who will keep the lyrics to songs, but like I went to what concert did I go to? It was like an EDM, it wasn't even a festival, it was like a concert, and there was just it was just a light show. Just light shows, I'm a guy who likes to sing along to the songs, and I think country music is one of the most sing-alongable genres there is. It really is. And if you mix, that's why I like your stuff so much, because you mix sing-alongable music to like dope house beats and EDM.
Can you imagine him at 8 Second Saloon?
Oh,
dude,
you need to make your way out to Indianapolis. 8 Second Saloon I think you would crush. It's like a line dancing bar, I guess saloon we have here.
About that, I'd be totally down for that.
Oh yeah, they have a whole entire like dance floor, and they line dance to all types of music. So you would probably fit right in there.
Anything goes through there. It's not all like big name people have gone through there, but it's not all country. There's been rock and like Jackal's played there.
Did not know that.
You don't know who Jackal is. But
I didn't know.
He's the guy that does the song, the solo with his chainsaw.
Got you. I just didn't know they had more people than country there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should definitely look up Indianapolis and come through. Got a place to stay. You can stay with me. We got extra room for sure.
Oh yeah, nice. What's the place called?
It's called 8 Second Saloon. We used to have another place called Saddle Up, but 8 Second Saloon is on the west side of Indianapolis, and they have, it's a big venue. They take it and they do shows and VIP and like the big dance floor, and it's a cool environment. It's a cool I need to go more, but their lineup this year has not been good.
Doesn't look like it did last year.
Yeah, I just it is what it is. But that's awesome. I have to shout out. I have to do this again. I have to bring up something that it's on my notes here, and I know that Nick is a huge fan of this person.
Oh, okay.
So he's gonna start geeking out.
Hold on. So when Saucy sent me that text real early one morning, he woke me up. I was pissed off, and then I read it. I was like, "Oh, this guy, get him on the podcast." And,
yeah.
And I was like, "Okay." And then Jeff was like, "Hey, we got him. It's scheduled." And I'm like, "Cool." Don't know who what? And he's like, because I didn't know what your name was yet. And he's like, "Look him up on Instagram." And first thing I saw Shania, and I was like, "Oh, I love him."
Yes. Can you please walk us through how you felt when you saw that Shania Twain, like the goddess of country music,
my wife, the queen,
did a duet with one of your TikToks? Like, how did that feel? How did take us through that?
Man, it was so surreal. I remember thinking when the first remix went viral, I was like, "Oh man, I bet she's gonna use the sound or acknowledge it in an interview or something." And then a week went by, 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by. I'm like, maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she's heard it and she's like, "Cool. Anyways, on to the next thing."
Yeah.
Like maybe not. Maybe this is it. That's it. That's the song went viral. And now it's gonna die. And then just one morning, I went to go wake up and just do some music, looked at my phone real quick, and there's a little verified check mark. I was like, Shania Twain created a duet. I was like, stop. And I clicked it. Yeah. And because like I said earlier, I thought she would just use it minimally, in the background, something, or just mention it off. I didn't think she would create a duet and then even kind of like do what I was doing, kind of change the light, be all serious. That was such an honor, and it was so surreal. And honestly, as the days go by, it's even more special because she's such an iconic star, and she did that for little old me. And I'm remixing other people not as big as her, and they don't, they're not taking the time. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they haven't seen it yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she's as big as she is. She's the only one out of all the remixes who took the time to do that. And it's just really special. And it's it's an honor, and it's still surreal. Sometimes I'm sitting there thinking like, holy shit, Shania Twain, that's who I am. That's crazy.
If it would have been me, we wouldn't be doing an episode right now because I would have been in a casket already, fall over dead.
You should have saw his face when when he lit up. He was like, "Oh, Shania, yeah, he's coming on the pod. I need to ask him about
he's
this."
my people, Like I'm the one that spent $200 to go stand at her concert in the lawn.
Yeah, she's coming here. It's. I wanted to go, but her tickets are.
And I know
insane.
this is off topic because it's getting into my life.
Yeah.
But July is I drive monster trucks and I'm a crew chief for a team.
No way.
And so July is my busiest month of 2023. We have a show every day from the 7th to the 28th of July.
Yeah.
Different state every day. And
not even Sundays and every single day?
Yep, every day. Once the 7th hits, I won't be done with shows for that month until the end of the month. And Shania's concert is July 15th. I already told Roger, I said, hey, man, I can do the show west to St. Louis, but I'm dipping, and I won't be back until this show.
Driving from St. Louis to?
Well, he's going to drop me off on the side of the interstate, and I'm going to get in another car to go home to go to the concert, and then I'll somehow get back to the rig. Like I told him, I said, it's not about the money. It's about I want to go cry for 3 hours,
And just put a candle up in the air and just.
Dude, if she comes out on a white horse, if she comes out on a white horse, I'm done. Like my life has been made.
Okay. Were you scared at all that she was gonna like when you didn't hear anything back from weeks, like she was gonna copyright claim you or things like that?
Yes. And I had a few mentors who have been doing country DJing and stuff who I've been asking, hey, what, just mentors essentially. Mm-hmm. And one of them scared me. He's like, dude, now that you've released it, they're not gonna sign it. Now that you released it, people have it for free on their hard drives. They're going to copyright strike you immediately. I was like, no, they can't do that. It's going well for them. They should fight. But it did, I'm still a little bit of fear. Yeah. But once that duo was created, I'm like, dude, it's only a matter of time before I hear.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I get that in copyright claims. Being on YouTube and whatnot, the strikes, they freak me out.
And it's
especially
all
me
my fault.
Smaller.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
I start singing. And
we haven't gotten. It was our little sound clip from the Michael Jackson. Yeah. That's the only one.
I thought it was every time I sing "Boys to Men."
Yeah, I always tell him to stop singing "Boys to Men" because I don't want to get copyrighted by.
But once I start going,
Motown.
I can't stop. You know this.
True. Another question I wanted to ask you, Luke, because I see it right now with your background, with everything. How did you come up with the style of your TikToks? I've seen the older ones, and it was kind of a different thing, but as I keep scrolling, there's a certain aesthetic you have to your TikToks where it's this what you're sitting in now, this blue this tealish background setting, and this just I don't know, just this look of just it's a blank look in your face, and you're just just vibe with the music. What do you where'd that come from? What was your creative process for the aesthetics of your videos?
So as you were kind of looking at my older stuff, I was trying to figure out how do I push my music out there but stick out. Everyone is making music and everyone is pushing stuff. And I was like, there's some advice of be authentic. You'll never regret who you are. And my favorite colors are blue and green, and apparently those are the top favorite colors of most people. So it's not a special thing at all. But still, those are just my two favorite colors. When I played video games, I use blue and green. But if you look around my house, there's not much blue and green. I'm not an obsessive blue and green person. But with my artistry, I was I'm trying to take who I am, what I like, and blow it up. So I love blue and green, but Real Hypo really, really loves blue and green, and everything about Real Hypo is blue and green. So that when you're scrolling through and you see one dude who's doing country EDM remixes, and he's dancing, he's in his studio, what a lot of people do, and nothing against that. That's a way to do it, and people have succeeded. Yeah. But they'll scroll down and see a deadpan blue and green dude. And even if they don't like it at first, I just feel like the imagery can kind of get stuck in your head. Just you don't see lighting and that demeanor very often.
Yeah.
And I just decided to take that route. It's, you know, and I think it's more true to myself. I'm not a big salesperson. I don't like saying, hey, here's what I'm doing. Check it out. Do you like it? What do you think? Even if I truly believe in it, because I don't like being sold to. I like, you know, just if I like it, I'll check it out. If I don't, I'm not. So instead of being the salesperson that messaged 1,000 people, hey, check it out, check it out, check it out, I just decided, let me be as weird and unique as possible, to stick out as much as possible so people come to me. And if people still aren't coming to me, keep sticking out more. And at first, I didn't know if that was going to work because it's kind of risky. It's kind of ballsy, you know, to have people come to me. But I just kept doing it, and I guess I got really, really lucky. So I'm going to attribute a lot of it to luck. But at the same time, I think you can never go wrong being true to yourself and just kind of blowing it up and having fun with it.
Yeah, because right now I'm in the same kind of space with our YouTube channel. It's newer. Well, it's technically like 2 years old now, but we rebranded. We rebranded. Yeah, it's exactly. So like we didn't get serious until like I think November. So like I'm still trying to like you said, how do I stick out with also being true to myself? Because we were going through Instagram earlier today, and like the people who are doing ridiculous stuff on Instagram just to get likes and views and things like that. And that's why I liked about yours when my friend Saucy showed me a video. He was like, "You're not trying to be all boisterous. Like you're literally sitting there and letting your music do the selling for you." And I think that's pretty cool. That's legit.
Exactly. And that's authentic to myself. If you were in the room and you wanted me to show you a song, I would show you the song, and I'd probably stand around. I wouldn't want you to feel like I was breathing down your neck. I'd just be like, listen, and let me just get out of your way. And that's kind of how the TikToks are. It says, here's the music. If the music doesn't catch you, scroll. If it does, perfect, because that's kind of, you know, the job.
How do you come up with which songs you want to remix? Like, what's your creative process? Like, do you just, like, you're just listening to a random country playlist, and you're like, oh, that would be cool to remix, and then you kind of just do it like that, or you like premeditated, know what song you want next, or like what's your process with that?
So it's all different, but it started off with, funny enough, my wife, who knew way more country than I did at the time. I'm like, hey, I'm deciding to do this for my sound. I want to start doing some remixes. What are some big country songs? And she's like, Before He Cheats, Chicken Fried, Fancy. And as you see, those are like one of my first few remixes. But then later, as I kind of figured out what I was doing, I just started finding country myself. And I would literally type in like popular country songs, because my strategy was I wanted people, hundreds of millions of people around the world love country music, probably mainly in America, but all over the world, Australia. I was betting on at least 10 people a day out of those hundreds of millions would search Kenny Rogers remix or country remix and hopefully would stumble to me. So that was kind of the process of what was the question? I'm sorry.
Just your creative process of how you pick a song, which song you're gonna do next to remix. Yeah,
you're right. I'm picking the next country. So once things started popping off, comments have been helpful on TikTok. So I've taken a lot of remix suggestions from comments. Also, watching a movie, I'll hear a country song and be like, wow, that's beautiful. I want to remix that.
Okay.
Funny enough, though, there are some songs where I'm like, this song's beautiful. I can't wait to remix it. And I just cannot finish it. Like, I don't know why I can't finish it. And likewise, there's songs that I was like, that people are telling me to remix this, but I don't know. It's going to sound bad. And it just flows and finishes. Like Boot Scootin' Boogie is an okay country song. It's not my style of country song I listen to. So when a lot of people were asking for it, I was like, it's a popular song. Let me give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And I grew a love for it because like everything was my creativity and the song just worked for some reason. Everything flowed. And that surprised me because the song itself was okay, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I think you might have offended my co-host here a little bit. Can't see his face. That's cool.
That's a really surprising part. So yeah, everywhere from movies to friend suggestions to online to me just Googling cool country songs, popular country songs. I get inspiration everywhere.
Got you. Okay. That's legit.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot, I guess this question might not be pertain to you as much because I think TikTok and Instagram are like a younger demographic. And I know this is more towards like the older demographic of country music lovers, but I know like diehards will like hate the new wave of country pop. You can probably attest to this. You probably test this, like people, like there's like Richie and like the what's his the stadium country.
What's the E what?
The E guy.
The ED, what is it? EDM?
EDM?
Yeah, I had no idea what that was until like this year.
I feel you. So like would you think that like your family who grew up on like Kenny Rogers, I don't know any old Johnny Cash.
All the old white people.
Yeah.
And then you got Hootie.
Do you think that they would like this kind of music? I was gonna ask, like, have you gotten any like negative drawback from the country community on like your remixes? But I don't know, because like it's such a younger audience, and younger audiences love like.
In my opinion on
mixing.
that is just I don't know why I wanted to say veg. It's just something you can vibe with. So like I don't think that would be an issue with my group of people.
Okay.
They're not going to be like, oh, you just
that's not music.
Country.
Yeah.
How dare you do that to Conway Twitty? Blah blah blah.
Conway Twitty. There you go, another one.
The hair. But it's to me, it's something to vibe to. Like I can drive to that. You can dance to that. You can clean your house to it.
Like I said earlier, I like the way that you can sing along to it, but it's just different. It's a remix. But yeah, have you gotten like any negative reception from the country community?
Honestly, I thought, and that was part of my kind of like strategy, because I think we've all been haters in our life, and I always like dissect, why was I a hater? And it's usually because, we're insecure or something. But in marketing, you want deep emotions. You want people to love and hate. So I was like, if I remix country and EDM, maybe the EDM people won't like the country, and they'll comment how bad it is and whatever. And the country people comment how they hate the EDM, and that will drive engagement. But I know for a fact there'll be this middle group that will love it. So I thought it'd be like, a small group here, small group there, whatever.
Yeah.
I was very surprised. It's like 99.9% positive from everybody. I get maybe one or two comments every so often of like, don't ruin this song. But country people from all ages, EDM people, it's surprising. I thought there would be more hate for this, but I'm not complaining, and I'm very happy that a lot of people are liking it. And I'm glad y'all noticed it too, because I wanted to remix the song. I wanted to marry them. I didn't want to put a country vocal on top of an and call it a day. I wanted it to be a song you could either listen to, kind of what y'all were saying, listen to, dance to, whatever your vibe is, you can do it. That's what I tried to do, and I'm glad y'all are kind of noticing that. That makes me feel really good. Like it's coming across.
It's very easy to notice when like the type of music you put out, because it's good.
Like this is the kind of music I can work to. Like at a show when we're getting the truck ready.
Yeah,
I can blare this. And
like this will get you hyped.
It'd get me hyped.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
then I break the truck, and then I'm not hyped anymore. But at least I'd have music to listen to while I fix it.
And then, like all my friends love EDM, and I'm just like a guy who just hasn't been on the.
Like when I learned what it was, the first thing I thought about was white chicks. What? When he's dancing with the glow sticks and everything, I was like, is that what that is?
No, there's like some like Skrillex, there's some Skrillex songs I like. But yeah, I just like I can't give you your flowers enough, because you're doing what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? Like you're creative. I don't know what your date like. First of all, did you quit like your day job? Is this like your full time career now, or is like DJing?
Yeah, it is now, and I'm still not like I would consider it like part time income as of right now, but I'm definitely doing it solely. But it wasn't a year ago.
What was that step about? Like, was that like a scary step, trying to like take that step to make this your career fully? Because I haven't taken that step yet. I'm still.
I've been very fortunate that I have a wife who has a full-time job, and she supports what I'm doing fully. Now that living off essentially one income in California is still very, very difficult. And she should have, honestly, it would have made financial sense for her to say, Luke, get a job, a full-time job. And this is probably not going to work. You should probably do something else. She never did. She always supported it. So I think for like a couple of months, I was trying to get clients doing podcasts, audio work, doing any sort of audio work, recording people, writing songs for other people. But in those like 2 to 3 months was also when I was posting content, trying to get traction there as well. And then very luckily, a Dolly remix started popping off, which led somebody to comment the Shania, you should remix Shania, which then Shania won. So yeah, I did hold down a few jobs, but thankfully my wife helped. If it wasn't for her, I don't know if I'd even be here. So definitely
get that.
She's a real one.
You got yourself a real one, as me and Nick say, because that is
absolutely. And she's also creative too. I mean, like I told you earlier, she told me a few of the country remixes to do, and I don't know, maybe 70 or 80% of the remixes I've released, I've played first for her, and she's told me to change a few things, always for the better. Like, so she's not only like supports me like financially to help, but you know, she supports me creatively too. And to be fair, I am a household person. I keep this place clean and I cook, so I'm not the typical like, you know,
see.
That ain't you.
Yeah,
that ain't you, Jeff.
Kudos to you, because I try to do that same thing. If you could see the rest of this studio, and like my girlfriend, she is a superwoman, low key. She does the full-time job. She's a creative too. She's in a poet society. She does like an arts,
no way,
everything over here, and
you've got a real one too.
She's doing her own thing on creative. What just happened? Oh, what just happened?
What happened?
Okay, no, my screen just went off, and then my friend Nick was giving me a look about, because
I'm not a friend. I'm your co-host.
he gave me a look about like he was giving me like, oh, these guys got girlfriends and real ones, and
I have a career. That's all I have. And what's it doing for me? Breaking my body.
Nick, we love you. So like another question I wanted to ask you, you know, with all the success you've been having and everything like that, what were some of like the trials and tribulations like coming? You said like, you know, the job things, but there was like any like time like you wanted to quit this and like just kind of go back to that job as simpler and things like that. So like, can you tell us about like that? Because I know there's people out there who like, you know, want to grind and do that stuff, but sometimes they kind of fall short of their own expectations and, you know, things like that. So like anything to tell them to like keep them going or something like that. Like what advice would you have for someone who wants to, you know, do what you do or be creative in like the internet space, as you would say?
Let's see. That's a good question. Well, trials and tribulations, I'd definitely be prepared for a roller coaster. Even with success, it never ends. You'll always go like this, up and down. Man, throughout the years, I wanted to do something to stick out, but there are definitely on my lower points of the roller coaster, my mind was telling me like, dude, these country remixes aren't taking off because no one wants them. No one cares. Why are you wearing a straw hat? Like, you look silly. You look stupid. What are you doing, dude? Like, you left metal. You left all of this to remix country. No one cares. Like, on the lower days, my mind was telling me that. But it's weird. I think for a split second, my brain's like, you should quit. But it's almost like there's an invisible wall, like in a video game. Like, I could never see myself quitting. Mm-hmm. If I was homeless, I don't know what it would take for me to never do. I don't think I could. Because it's just, even thinking about it now, it's dim to think I could never write a song again, never do music again. So the roller coaster always goes back up, and there are days where I feel like the greatest producer in the world. And honestly, that's not that accurate either. You know, you're definitely always in the middle. So definitely don't get too caught up here. Don't get too caught up here. The truth is generally right here. But also at the same time, enjoy it when you're up. You don't want to, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Did you have another question?
No, I was going to say, like,
that kind of hits with me because, like, my dream growing up, like, I grew up around racing and motorsports and all this. I always wanted to be a monster truck driver, and in the last year, it's hit. I became a crew chief full time, and then at a show one day, my boss is like, "You're driving tonight. Get your shit on." Yeah, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So you know, like, you fight for that dream and you work as hard as you can for it. And then there's so many times just where everything's going wrong and you're like, is it worth it? Mm-hmm. Like, why is this dream even worth it?
Oh yeah. I've done the same thing with, I put hours into a video or something. I think this is heat and it gets like 20 views. And I'm just like, oh, well, that's hardening to hear. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah. But then you guys celebrate the small thing. I know when our channel hit like 100 or something like that, we went to the Rick's Boatyard or something. What did we do? What big celebration? It was like a small minuscule one, but we still celebrated at Rick's for something.
I thought it was just a normal Tuesday.
I thought we were celebrating, or was that our new thing? Is if something happens big, we're gonna go to Rick's to celebrate.
Oh, the fancy one?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Was that for the subscriber count?
Yeah,
we went there.
Yeah.
We hit it. Like, it's a small little milestone, but you got to celebrate them while you can, because you know it's how you keep yourself sane in a world like this, low key.
Like the way I look at this YouTube channel and I'm dying. Sorry. The way I look at the YouTube channel and this podcast is, yeah, I want it to pop off and become something, but at the same time, I'm happy we're doing it because we're doing it for us.
Yeah. Like we said in the last episode, it's kind of like our therapy.
Like, we're trying, we're doing this for, to get viewers and, to get an audience, but at the same time, we're doing it just as much for us. It's our thing.
Yeah.
It's how we decompress. And so either way, I'm okay with it.
I mean, honestly, we probably, if we would have stopped, because we started this podcast during COVID.
We literally did the first episode, and then the next week the world ended.
Yeah, really shut down. Everything shut down.
It was really during COVID, like before.
Yeah, so like we had like a COVID episode. Like if we would have done with this, like I think this podcast is here to stay, low key. But back to our guest. Just one more question. You're a musician. You've been basically, you said all your life you've had an instrument in your hand, and you clearly you do remixes and producing. Who are your top 5 musicians of all time? Does it have to be like just country or DJs? I just want to know, like, who do you listen to the most of all time?
Listen, that's hard.
Or like your influences, I guess.
See, you ask me this all the time, and I can't do it.
Am I the only person who thinks of like everything top 5? Like
I can't do. It's like when you ask me being a drummer, you're like, who's the best drummer? I'm like, there is no best
top
drummer.
5 drummers.
You can't do that.
I name me a category. I'm gonna do top 5 everything.
I think it's hard because sometimes, like, the first half of the year, I'm going to be really listening to Skrillex or Porter Robinson, and then I won't listen to that guy for 2 years. So it's like, is Porter Robinson an influence? Is he my top musician? That's hard because, it's not like I listen to the same 5 artists for 10 years straight. But I will say there's 3 I can think of. One, this is kind of cheesy, but it's accurate. I would say my dad, because he is a musician, and he pretty much put the instruments in me and my siblings' hands. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have this knack for music, because literally as soon as we could do piano lessons, he put us in there. When I started producing, he told me, like, hey, he taught me arranging. Like, this is kind of boring. You want to kind of split this up.
Gotcha.
So his voice is always subconsciously in my head. So I would say definitely my dad. And then, of course, Avicii, like I said earlier, he was the one, at least for me, that started doing the country EDM thing mainstream. I know there's, Cotton Eye Joe and a lot of like dance albums, Reba in the 90s and stuff. But
I didn't even think about Cotton Eye Joe.
But the like country EDM as we know it. Avicii, I would say he truly inspired this whole project. Kygo, I take a lot from him. Okay. So I'll say those 3 artists I'm really inspired by.
Dude, that's awesome. Top 3 is 5. That's close.
I could add Will Nelson and Johnny Cash, but those are almost for cultural reasons. I do love their music, but you can maybe tell me more if you know the history of Willie Nelson. But apparently, when he was starting out, like his country music, he was doing 4 chords, and the industry wanted 3 chords, and they were like kind of pushing him out. It sounds so ridiculous that it sounds untrue, but I swore I remembered hearing that.
I was gonna say, I don't think Willie Nelson's ever done anything the way he was supposed to do it,
and that's why he's been big. Exactly, and that's what I love, and that's what I respect in art and any musician. And I think if we look at the history, those are the people that succeed. The world wants something
like Johnny Cash. He talked. He wasn't a singer. He talked his story. And,
exactly.
Nobody else did that. Everyone was like, that ain't gonna happen.
To switch over genres, you go to rap music. In the NWA movie, they wanted people. They had Sugar Hill Gang and like Run DMC. They were the first rap group.
Like Elvis. They look at Elvis like, well, is he having a seizure? Like, what's he doing?
Dude, yeah, it was a good movie.
It always starts out with, who is it? What are they doing? This is weird. This is not, I don't like this. And then they eventually become cultural icons.
Yeah.
So that's what I would give advice to any artist. Like, don't be, and it's actually it relieves the pressure. You don't have to be the greatest. You just have to be different. So don't ever worry about being the best with the best quality. You just got to stick out. And that's a little easier than people think. It's not easy, but it's easier than people think.
Yeah, I would say that's very accurate, especially in today's climate. Because like back then, I think back in the day, you had to be good at like singing and stuff like that. Like Aretha Franklin, like all these other people, like Anita Baker. Not Anita, is it Anita Baker? I don't even know. Nina Simone, people like that. But like nowadays, you have people like, okay, I'll give her flowers now, but back in the day, I didn't think Taylor Swift could sing. I think she's worked on her voice since she was a teenager, so I give her credit for that.
Well, that's a whole different thing too. You look at her and Justin Bieber when they started. They were kids.
But they weren't really.
And then you have to go through, you know, becoming an adult. It's a whole different. You gotta.
But Justin Bieber had a machine. He had Usher and like that pop industry forming him. He wasn't really different. He was literally a little miniature Usher, Justin Timberlake, Neo, Michael Jackson knockoff. Taylor Swift was a little bit different because I think I guess she's like a mini Shania. She went from country to pop. That's what Shania Twain really did. Like
there's only one of her.
Fair enough, but there's this new guy in country who I love. His name's Breland. I don't know if you heard of him.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh yeah, he mixes like the hip hop and the country aspect, but he's definitely more hip hop. Well, I wouldn't say definitely, but he sticks out to me because he's taking what Lil Nas X did with Old Town Road and kind of running off with it. I mean, roll your eyes. Old Town Road is a banger.
That's the problem. Every time I hear that, it takes me weeks to get it out of my head.
Oh, Old Town Road. Oh, it's a
not
catchy
that I
song.
hate it. It's just it's one of those songs that's on the list that I don't listen to because it gets stuck in my head.
Fair enough. I got you. Honestly, Cotton Eye Joe was one of those songs that get stuck in my head. I don't know. Was it the bus at Kings Island?
Yeah,
the things part.
That was the train.
The train.
It was the train.
The train used to this little train at this music park next to Indianapolis and Cincinnati. They would play Cotton Eye Joe every time you go on the train, and it would just get stuck in my head. But when you said it was like the first EDM country song, I was like, oh my god, he is absolutely right. Cotton Eye Joe is literally like a line dancing EDM dance country song. I'm just like, mind blown. I did not know that. That's crazy. Open the door for a lot of people, and they don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Luke, do you want anything else you want to add? Do you tell our fans and our people, our listeners?
This is the first podcast I've ever been on, so this is very special for me.
We got him
Thank you
first.
for having me.
We got him first before he was big. We got him first. Oh, he's still big. Don't get me wrong. You're. I said, you were the biggest I guess we've had on this podcast.
26 people are going to watch this.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, but I get to say when I look at your follower count, he has like 3 million. I'm like, we got him first.
Yep.
Screw you guys. Screw you, Rogan.
We're going to go celebrate it tonight.
Well, thanks for being on the show. We loved having you. You want to do plugs tell us your handles and whatnot?
Yeah, follow me on TikTok, Real Hypha, or Real Hypha for real. I don't know. For some reason that was taken, even though it's not on there. You know, you search Real Hypha, it's not there. So Real Hypha for real. Real Hypha pretty much everywhere else. I chose the name specifically because I would assume no one else had it. So if you Google Real Hypha, you should be able to find me somewhere.
Got you. Awesome. Well, we're gonna plug ourselves too. You can follow us on our social medias at Squirrely TV, and make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Well, that being said, Nick, you got anything else you want to add?
No, we need to link up sometime soon.
We do. If you come to Indy, you got to hit us up. Got to hit us up, and we'll get our friend Saucy here too, because like I said, he's the one that brought us on to you. But I have been Jeff,
and I'm Nick.
And this has been another episode of Unapologetically Stupid.
Yeah, it was.